Okay, so we're going to start with inserting a canvas. Find the canvas you want, select the plane, place it on, and just make it a little bit bigger for now. Now if we're going to calibrate, we know that these are 10 millimeters apart, so click 2 points, press 10 and OK that. Now what I'm going to do now is try and get this absolutely straight, because I want to create a mirror line and then draw one side and mirror it to the other side. Okay, so we'll do this by entering the numbers. So I think it's 0.4, and when we're happy, we're just going to enter that. Right, the next thing is to create a sketch. Choose the plane. I'm going to change it into a construction line. So that is the dotted line. Draw the line going straight through the middle, and then just click that tick or enter. Don't finish the sketch. Now I'm going to select the rectangle, and I'm going to make sure that I've changed back from that construction line to a normal line. And what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to map out the overall shape. Once you've finished, again, don't finish the sketch. Next thing is to press T or trim. I'm just going to trim everything that has gone over that mirror line. You don't actually have to do that, but it just makes it a little bit cleaner. Now the reason this is going to be complicated is because I'm not looking at the actual product. I'm only looking at a few views of it. It's a lot easier if you're looking at the actual product. It means that you don't have to make up stuff. Okay, so I've created one side. Time to press mirror. I'm going to select all those lines that I want to mirror across, and then once I'm happy, I'm going to select the mirror line, which of course is the construction or the dotted line, the very first line I drew. Okay, so it's time to insert another canvas. This time I'm going to do the side profile. So insert that, rearrange, mirror, flip, do whatever you need to do. We're not going to calibrate it because we're never going to be able to get it exactly the same size. So you're going to have to eyeball it. Okay, so now it's time to get that sketch, and we're going to extrude one of those circles, and we're going to extrude it up till it matches that side view. And once we've done that, we're going to fill it and round it off, so we've got that dome. And now we're going to extrude that base, and we're going to bring it up slightly. Now I think this is probably my first mistake. Because I did it this way, it made everything very difficult later on. So I create a new sketch on the XZ plane, and I'm going to use the spline tool. I'm going to try and trace roughly the side profile. Then I'm going to split the body and cut away. I'm going to start removing pieces that I don't need, so don't delete, right click or two fingers onto the body name and then click remove. Now because it's a bad photograph, that canvas needs to be tilted, so I'm tilting it so that I can draw a flat version of the top handle, and that will give me what the squeezer is going to look like if it was closed. So what we do now is we get the spline tool, and we're just going to trace the top of that handle. Then I'm going to split that body using that spline, and I'm going to remove the parts. Now I've also created a spline that goes through the middle of that, and I'm going to split that up. And that should separate the handle into one of the three parts. Bring that dome back, and this time we're going to shell it. I'm going to make it about 4 mil. We're going to bring back the handle that the dome is connected to, and we're going to use the bottom face as the cutting tool, and we're going to cut that dome. We can remove that part of the dome when we're finished. Now let's bring back that upper layer, and we're going to try and build that hinge. Now the hinge is quite a tough one because I can't really see exactly where it is, so I'm going to guess this one. And now I'm just going to create that another spline to make the last part of that sandwich, as it's a 3-part squeezer. Once again using the spline as the cutting tool to split the handle. Next is a fillet around the handle and to make it round, and then we're going to fillet the underneath side. I did this was I started with the base and I created the dome and the handle. Now I move to the middle and I'm creating the handle and the dome. Next I'll be going to the top where I will create the dome and join it to the top part of the handle, then I'll create the hinge. So once again extruding the circle to make a cylinder. I'm slipping it into wireframe so that I can actually see how high to go. Then I'll fillet the edge, obviously making sure that when I extrude it is new body and not cut. Once the dome's done, shell it exactly as before. Then we're going to combine it then I'm going to use the underside of that part of the handle that it is joined to as the tool for cutting the profile, not forgetting of course to remove the part that I don't need. So now it's time to create the top dome. So create a new sketch, then I'm going to draw the circle, I'm going to extrude it exactly the same. That's going to make the cylinder. I'm going to fillet the corners, shell it, and then use the profile to snip it off. Now you'll see that as I make that dome, I've now got a gap in that top part of the handle. So what I've done is extruded that part of the handle to overlap inside the dome that goes on the top. And now I'm going to fillet those corners or edges to make it a little bit smoother. Now because I'd used the bottom plane to create the sketch that made the cylinder initially, now I need to trim the body of the cylinder with the other two handles. The next part and the last part is just for me to sort of tidy up the end and create the hinge. To do this I create a cylinder that becomes the barrel, then I use a construct plane to snip that cylinder in 6 pieces. I then assign each of those pieces, or 2 of those pieces, mirrored to each of those handle parts. Therefore 2 hinge parts for each handle. It's just a matter of moving those cylinders and trimming, and then combining and referring back to the top, the bottom and the middle. Now you'll see that I've made that the center core for the hinge. I've changed the pivot points for the move and pressed the green tick and then move into place.